Desert Diaries. Hello, Arizona calling, and oof, what a bit of a surreal week this week, as it is the week we have had an unwelcome visitor. I know I've banged on about how much we've really missed having family and old friends come to stay, but this week we really didn't want the visitor who showed up. Yes, COVID has come a-calling. Now, looking at infection rates all over Arizona and, of course, the whole country and the world, I guess it was only a matter of time, especially when you've got children in school in a state where mask mandates have been banned by the governor. You know his name, Doug Ducey. And it was the teenager who started complaining about a sore throat and saying she felt headachy and really, really tired. And we tested her and she was negative for COVID. We'd had a note from school just before the weekend that a child had tested positive in the 10-year-olds class and that non-vaccinated kids had to stay at home. And so on Sunday night, as we were wondering whether or not just to send her back in, even though she has been vaccinated, especially with Lila off ill anyway, we decided to do another test. And this time, she was positive. We're lucky in that we both work from home anyway, and we'd done a big shop in the week, and we thought, well, we'll just hunker down for a few days and keep isolated. It is what it is, right? We called the school to let them know. Thank you so much, the school administrator had said. It's very thoughtful of you to tell me. Many parents are not. Excuse me, what? As I called around the teenagers' closest friends, one of the other mums confirmed that, the school was having a problem with some parents not reporting COVID infections in their kids. Now, having not spoken to any of those parents, I don't want to presume or second guess what their motivation is for not disclosing, but here we are. So we kept the smallest one off school as well, as the poor teachers tried to jump back into another week of half the kids on Zoom, half the kids in person nightmare. And as the smallest one has an outdated school login, she's just basically spent the week reading books and watching videos about snakes on YouTube. Really, there is now very little she doesn't know about green anacondas or black mambas or ball pythons. But what do you do? I started to feel really woozy on Tuesday evening, lightheaded and headachy and spaced out, really hot as well, and absolutely exhausted. And I spent the last couple of days feeling utterly wiped out. I mean, sleeping for 16 hours a day style wiped out. But otherwise, with no other symptoms, I'm kind of hoping it stays that way. Well, do I have Omicron? Well, actually, I don't know for sure, as we can't get our mitts on any tests. Home testing kits, too, for about $20 have been readily available here for yonks, and we've used them intermittently if we've had any symptoms or anyone around us has tested positive. But now in this huge wave we find ourselves in, tests in these parts are like hen's teeth. My husband spent a good hour driving around local pharmacies on Tuesday night, and two of them actually laughed out loud when he asked if they had any tests in stock. Saturday, he was told, was when they might maybe have a shipment come in. Now, Saturday, January the 15th, is a significant date in the home COVID testing calendar here in the United States, as it's the day that store-bought COVID tests become free. Kind of. Now, until now, we've had to pay for those home antigen tests. I'm not sure if that's the same deal elsewhere in the world, and that's obviously been a real issue for people who either don't have the means to pay for those tests or need to test really regularly. I remember being really surprised to see little white tents on virtually every street corner in New York City offering free COVID tests to anybody who wanted to walk up and have one. As the only little white COVID testing tents I'd seen here in Arizona were offering rapid tests for just $99. You can now get free tests in a lot of the pharmacies here in AZ, although some of them do require health insurance. And like so many aspects of the American healthcare system, it's really confusing to try and find out what anything's actually going to cost you right up until the moment you're getting it. But I was surprised that there are just two. Yes, two mobile testing vans provided not by the healthcare companies, but by the city of Phoenix, a city with a population of nearly 5 million people. Two vans. It wasn't a surprise to read that one of the major testing sites run by a health company here in Phoenix actually had to shut down due to overwhelming demands and then staff sickness. There is a real wave sweeping through the valley right now. I didn't really feel in a fit state to drive anywhere, let alone wait in line to go and get a test, and I didn't think it was a great idea to be out and about anyway. So I'm isolating regardless, and if we're lucky enough to get a test on Saturday, then I'll see. But back to those home tests. Yeah, January the 15th is the day from which President Biden has declared that if you have health insurance, then your insurance company has to reimburse you for up to 8 home COVID tests a month. So, 2 a week or so. Now, you not only have to have the cash to be able to buy them up front, of course, $20 isn't no money, but you also do need to be insured in order to claim that money back. And no idea how long it will take for you to get your money back afterwards, of course. The Biden administration has said that they do plan to try and incentivise insurers so that reimbursement process is automatic. So as you buy the test, you're immediately reimbursed for it back on your credit card without having to go through the whole palaver of filing an insurance claim. But that is still in the works, we're being told. I mean, the healthcare system's only had 2 years to figure this out, haven't they? So there you go. Now, if you don't have insurance, you're still going to have to go and buy those tests, of course. Although last month, the president did announce 500 million free at-home tests for COVID would be mailed out to American homes. And just a couple of days ago, the president announced he was going to double that promise and was now going to ship out an extra 500 million, so 1 billion COVID tests in total. Now, the tests are going to be available via registration on a website, which doesn't yet exist, but is apparently launching today. And you do hope, don't you, that those tests do actually get to the people who really, really need them. But critics, of course, are pointing out that this all seems to be happening rather late on in the whole Omicron surge. So, a short but not so sweet COVID diaries this week. Hopefully normal service will be resumed in the next few days. And in what the kids probably no longer call real talk, recording this diary for you right now, late on a Thursday night, marks the very first time I've been out of bed all day. And I must confess, I am in my pyjamas. Thank God this isn't telly, eh? I'll see you in the desert.